Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I realize it's been quite some time since I've posted, but back in June I had an accident and I broke my leg and I was kind of held up for a good couple of months, and I'm starting to be on the mend now and I'm able to start walking on my leg again, and so I've been feeling up to doing more things. But something that I had in the works back in May is I was painting my office wall, kind of getting things prepared, a little more of a different setup for my videos, and so I wanted to share that with you guys. But like at the end of May I had everything painted, and then at the beginning of June I broke my leg and my surgery was after that. Anyway, it's been a big mess, but I'm back and I wanted to share my studio with you because I'm really excited to get to work in not a new space but a newly decorated space, so I'm pretty excited for that. Behind me is the wall that I was painting, which we'll take a closer look at here in the next little bit. So let's get started. Here's a quick overview of what my office looks like, with my desk in the middle, my art supplies around me, and then here on this far wall I have a bookcase full of books. Books are one of my biggest inspirations. I also like to keep things on here that I'm really proud of, like the nesting dolls from one of my previous videos. Avatar is one of my favorite series. And then this little tower thing is something I've just never finished. I know we all have those. I love Olaf and other creatures. And then these two sketchbooks are from Nerdforge, which is one of my favorite YouTubers. I also like to keep quotes handy to keep me motivated. I love this one by Walt Disney. The quickest way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. On this wall, I keep my whiteboards to help keep me organized, extra lighting just in case I need it. And I also keep a bunch of artwork on the walls to keep me motivated, just things that I like to look at, people who have given me things, etc. These are some of my favorite things that I've hung on the wall. These bottom ones and kind of on the side are ones that I've done either in previous videos or on my own. I have some from a friend, like this one. And then these two are from some friends that I have in Alaska that gave me some of these works, some things from my cousin. And then this is one that I created with one of my art students that I'm teaching. It's a little bit close, but this is the wall that I just painted recently with a sponge in different shades of a red brick color that I got from the hardware store. This is an empty wall for now, but it's a project I have coming up for a mural that I'm really excited for, so keep your eyes posted. I've used this desk quite a bit. It's not the prettiest one in the world, but it's definitely been practical and helpful for all the things we've done together. Here is the promised unboxing. I had several things that I was needing to buy for projects coming up, and so this is the things that I got. It's just a mini art haul, but needed all the same, and I'm excited for it as well. First off, I love to have a good smelling place. I was running low on one of my essential oils, so I had bought some lavender from this company, Plant Therapy, which is one of my favorite smells. Next, I have been doing a lot of digital art and I've been smudging things everywhere. So I bought these little glove protector things so I can hopefully keep my screen more clean. Yay, it fits! This glove actually feels really good, and it's nice and stretchy so that if my hands grow at all or whatever, sometimes that happens, it'll fit still, and it's nice and snug. Next we have these rubber stamps. I've been doing some Christmas prints. Keep your eye out for that as well. I'm currently working on. And I'm running low on the linoleum blocks that I have. And I found that these rubber stamps are actually cheaper, plus I'll be able to cut them down to a size I want to make any personalized stamps that I may feel like in the future. This particular set comes as a set of 8, and they're all individually wrapped, which is nice to prevent any marks or dents getting into them, because if you have marks or dents in them, that will show in a print when you print it later on. In this box, I had 2 things I really needed that I was running low on. This first one is some blue ink for my linoleum Christmas prints that I'm working on. I was almost completely out of the blue. And later on, after filming this video, I realized I'm also low on the yellow and white ink as well. And so I have to get some more. Oh darn, more art supplies. Actually, I'm really excited to get some more. And last but definitely not least is some more gesso, some white gesso. I was running really low on this, and it's always good to prep your surfaces before you start painting so you know what to expect when your paint goes onto your surface. That's all the art supplies that I have for this video. Hopefully we'll be able to do more soon. And back to the tour. Directly on my desk, I keep my printer, my cordless keyboard for my iPad, paints, palettes, and a pencil sharpener. And then I also keep my water-based markers because I use them a lot with my bullet journal that helps keep me on track every day, that I keep in this nifty side drawer right here. So I have my bullet journal right here that has my planner in it as well, some supplies, my go-to supplies that I keep here, and then also in another spot. And then I also have these little like Altoid tins that are perfect for erasers, especially the gummy erasers, the kneaded erasers. That way they don't get the gummy mess all over everywhere. Over here on this side of the wall is where I keep a small cabinet with drawers, and I have all these washi tapes and this contraption that I made out of cardboard. I have a lot of things that I just make out of cardboard because they work really well for me. And then I also have this little plastic set of drawers where I keep some extra supplies. In this top one I have some extra erasers and a glue stick, and then tucked back here somewhere I have some refills for my X-Acto knife blades, and then I also have some in the bottom drawer. And then also in this bottom drawer I have some sewing measuring tapes and some more glue sticks, just some things that are nice to have on hand but I don't necessarily use all the time. And then here in this little paper box that I made, this origami box, I keep a bunch of numbers. They're numbered, I think 1 through 100 is in here right now, so that when I am trying to find something to draw I don't have to scramble or brainstorm. I keep a notebook that has lists of animals and different types of fish and birds in it. That way I can just pull something up really quick that I want to draw. This little tower thing that I have right here is just made out of cardboard. I've had it for several years and it still works great for me. In this top drawer I keep mostly like office type supplies, scissors, a box cutter, rubber bands, chapstick, just things to keep the office running. In this bottom drawer, I keep things like my reading glasses that I should wear more often but I don't, cords, my hard drives, things that I reach for fairly frequently. but I don't need all the time. Some salt for when I do watercolors, and then a sock to wipe down my whiteboards that help keep everything organized and going as well. In this top drawer is where I keep some of my go-to materials and a few more office supplies, 3-hole punch, scissors, a little mini hammer, some paper clips, and some push pins, things like that. And then over here in this little blue zipper case is my go-to art supplies. I have like Copic markers in there, fine liners, a pencil, colored pencil, and then a little like water paintbrush so that I don't have to bring water with me, which is super convenient. This drawer is also where I keep my sketchbook, so I can just have it close on hand and pull it out whenever I need it, whether I'm doing sketches or something a little more refined. In the second drawer is where I keep a lot of the art supplies I use on a regular basis. So these are rollers for printmaking. This is a little chisel that has all the chisels inside of the handle. And if you watch my video coming up with the Christmas prints, you'll be able to, I'll go into more detail about all of the little chisel ends and what they're used for. I also keep my water-based markers in here, the surplus ones that I have, a spatula for mixing up my inks for my printmaking, and I also highly recommend always having a pencil case to travel with you for your art supplies. Hold your art supplies. This is my gouache set. I keep some metallic watercolors in here as well. It's really convenient. They're magnetized to the case. I need to secure them a little bit better. And then I also keep, I believe these are Winsor Newton watercolors that I had in college that are definitely just very beautiful. This box keeps extra watercolor pans, empty watercolor pans. And then I also have these multicolor pencils that are red, blue, green, and yellow that are just really fun to color and draw with and experiment with. They've been a blast to play with. I also have a bunch of art supplies in here that I don't use very often, like those new pastels, this gold leaf that I don't use on a regular basis, but I want to experiment with these things, oil pastels, and then I even have an additional set of these hard pastels. I think the oil ones are soft pastels. I think the hard ones are just the regular pastels, these new pastels like by Prismacolor, but I'm not entirely sure. In here I keep all of my like painting supplies and ink materials. This is my inks for my prints that I'm working on for Christmas. Some that I'm mixing up that I ran out of the yellow for. And then I have things like this yogurt lid. This is another pro tip. This is one of my favorite things to use as a palette. It just comes off of the lid so easily, which is really nice. Then I have my paint thinner in here, some water and some like varnish, just extras for painting. And then last year I bought Jazz's box that he put out, so these are some paints from that and some miniatures. And then down here in this bottom drawer is where I keep like things like tape. I have some letters from my little inspiration board down here, some Mod Podge, my glue gun, some different types of glue and adhesives. And then I also keep that like my big thing of paint down here, so both the paint and then the gesso. And then I do also have some varnish, like acrylic varnish. This is crystal clear that I like to put on like my drawings and things like that. Pinched between here, between the wall and my drawers, I keep some panel canvas, is what this one is. And then I also do have some one small canvas down here, some self-healing cutting mats, some illustration board, things like that, that I keep on hand. And then I have, this is where I keep my like tripod and my easel and this little bag that I carry when I go out places. And then I have this paper cutter back here as well. In this box that I keep under my desk, I just have a little bag, but this is also where I keep my presser foots for my sewing machines and a little wrist brace for when my wrists get sore. My sewing machines I actually keep in a different room in the house just because there's not room in here. And then here's another just another cardboard tower that I made. I worked at a pharmacy where I had access to a lot of different cardboard boxes, and so I've made all sorts of things that just have fit my needs, which is great. In this first drawer, I keep things, mostly it's markers. I did have that set of watercolors. There's also this set of mini fine liners. This is mostly where my markers are and some metallic markers. And this is just where I keep them. I don't go to this box very often, but it has its own space. I like to have everything have its own space to keep more organized. In this next drawer, this is probably the one I use the most out of this section. This particular box I split into 3 different sections. This first one has like extra pens, fine liners, colored pencils. This middle one has my Prismacolor pencils that I've been using forever. I've mostly used Prismacolor, so I'd be interested to try more. And then this year, I got these Spectrum Noir color pencils from the Jazza Art Box. I also have some Prismacolor watercolor pencils in here that I don't use very often. So let me know if you'd like to see me use those in another video. And I do also have some Posca paint pens underneath all of the pencils in this side. In this last box, it holds all of my paints. The acrylic paints that I have are by Liquitex. I really like their quality. Even though they do have a shiny finish, I actually like that shiny finish. Then over here on the left, I have my oil paints. Aw, good stretch, Lucy. Hi, Lucy. Piper, come here. Aw, hi, Piper. Oh, are those good scratches? Aw, it's just good scratches. Hi. Getting back to the box, over here on the right hand side of this box is where I keep all of my gouache, and then there's a few extra watercolors down there as well. And then I also have some black ink. Moving on to the other side of the drawers that I showed earlier, this is a project I'm working on for a little harness for our dog. And then I do also keep my yarn in here, and also my like crochet hooks and knitting needles. So I have yarn in the bag, and then also in this tote down here on the bottom, I also have some more yarn that I keep right here. And then this is my palette for inks and oil painting. It's just a piece of glass from a frame that I taped white paper behind. It works really, really well. Again, nothing fancy. You don't need anything fancy to get started. And then this back table, this little rolly cart, is where I keep all my alcohol markers. This is another mini set from the Jazza Box from last year. This is a grass bowl that I got in Washington, D.C. a couple years ago on a trip. A little cacti garden, and my camera that sits up here. In this top drawer, in this little rolly cart, is where I keep housekeeping things. It has my list of animals and birds and things when I don't want to figure out what I'm drawing. I also keep my iPad, and then this little notebook and binder that's a story that I'm working on, so keep posted. Down here in this little shelf is where I keep a lot of my papers. This is the container I used for the brick wall. It was perfect for my little sponge to fit in. I'm also working on getting some shelves up on that back wall in my office that I just painted. These are the brackets for those. And then I have construction paper, so mostly just paper down here, some notebooks. And then I also have my prints that I'm working on. And here's just a little sneak peek of the print I'm working on. But that's it. That's all you're getting. And then down here in the bottom cupboard is just where I store some extra things that I don't use very often. So these are both speakers. I keep my cords down here, and like my battery camera and my chargers for my camera, batteries, things like that. And then I also keep my large bulk items down here, like the paints that don't fit in that other bottom drawer where I keep the other ones. And then I also have this big box of extra stuff that I use on occasion but not very frequently. I have an extra palette in here, my rubber stamps. I'm storing these in this box for now. I may change the spot that they're in. Extra paper, some material, some storage containers, things like that. I also have these inks that I got again in the Jazza box, and then I also have these little blank face cards that I might turn into my own design someday. Thank you for coming along on this studio tour with me. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. I also recently started up my Patreon account, so go on over there. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks. Bye.